So, hello everyone. Good evening. Today I'll be presenting a seminar about urinary tract infection. So, in this presentation, mainly I'll be dealing with the causes of the urinary tract infection, symptoms, prevention, and its treatment. Okay, so let's begin with the introduction. So, basically, this urinary tract infection are one of the most commonest bacterial infection which affects globally. Okay, so these are the most common infections which everybody faces in their lifetime at least once. So coming to the definition of urinary tract infection, so it is a infection that affects any part of the urinary system. It may be either bladder, or it may be kidneys, it may be ureters, or it may be urethra. Okay, so this urinary tract infection can be divided into upper urinary tract infection and lower urinary tract infection. In lower urinary tract infection, it mainly involves urethra and bladder. Coming to the upper urinary tract infection, it starts to involve kidneys. Okay, so this is the classification. So upper involves kidneys, whereas lower involves urethra and bladder. So the most of the times, the majority of the infections will be lower urinary tract infections. So the severity of the disease or the severity of the urinary tract infection increases as it involves as the infection ascends higher. Okay, so as the infection ascends, like when it starts to involve kidney, the severity of the disease will increase. So, importance of understanding the UTIs. Why is it important to understand the UTI? Okay, so basically for the timely diagnosis and also for the appropriate management and care. First thing is to avoid the complications such as kidney infections. So to avoid these kidney infections, we have to diagnose the UTI very early. So next is epidemiology and prevalence. So as I told you before itself, this UTI is present worldwide. It affects the people globally. So in this, it mainly affects women. Okay, so 50 to 60% of the women will experience this UTI once in their lifetime. So basically, this is due to the anatomical differences. Okay, so among adults aged 20 to 50 years, UTIs are about 50 fold more common in women. Okay, so in the age group of 20 to 50 years, UTIs are more common in women. Okay, after 50 years of age, this ratio will turn opposite wise. Okay, so due to the presence of prostatic problems in men above the 50 years, this ratio will turn opposite wise. Next is causes of urinary tract infection. So there are various pathogens involved in urinary tract infection. So the most commonest pathogens which causes UTI are, first one is Escherichia coli. So this is the most commonest organism which affects 75 to 80% of the people. Next is Klebsiella, and third one is Proteus species, and lastly Staphylococcus sacrophyticus. Okay, so coming to the Proteus species, the main organism here will be Proteus mirabilis. So where it will produce a pungent smelling urine. Okay, a pungent smell of urine, which is due to the production of ammonia. So it is also associated with the struvite stones in the kidney. Okay, so this Proteus species will produce pungent, irritating smell of the urine along with the struvite stones in the kidneys. And next is Staphylococcus sacrophyticus. So it is mainly seen in the sexually active women. Okay, so these are the most common pathogens of the UTI. First one is Escherichia coli, Klebsiella, Proteus, and lastly Staphylococcus sacrophyticus. Next is risk factors. So the major risk factors, as we already have spoken, like females are more prone for this disease. So first one will be sexually active women, next is pregnancy, and plastic, that is that is catheters, if a patient is having any catheter. And next is poorly controlled diabetes. Poorly controlled diabetes is also the major risk factor for UTI. Next is any surgical procedures or any procedures like stents or tubes have put in the patient, then also it will be a risk factor. As already I have said, like the prostatic problems. And lastly, certain contraceptive methods. Majorly the contraceptive methods such as using the spermicide will increase the risk of UTI. And also when people are using condoms with less lubricants, then also there will be increased friction, which will lead to the UTI. Okay, so these are the major risk factors. Anatomical consideration. So why is that female are more prone here? So basically the anatomy differs. So women have the shorter urethra, so which will allow the bacteria to easily gain entry into the bladder. Okay, so compared to men, female will be having a shorter urethra, which will allow the entry of the bacteria into the bladder very easily. So this will be the anatomical consideration, which will make women more prone for the infection. So next is the symptoms of urinary tract infection. So the major symptoms of urinary tract infection, first one will be the dysuria, that the painful urination, and next will be the increased frequency, increased urgency, and also the pain in abdomen. So these are the most commonest symptoms of the urinary tract infections. So next, okay, so here you can differentiate it according to the type of infection, like which part of the kidney is, which part of the urinary system is affected, and how to differentiate it. Okay, first one is urethritis. In all of these cases, whether it may be urethritis, cystitis, pyelonephritis, and also the perinephric abscess. Okay, first is urethritis. So urethritis is the infection of the part of the urethra, infection of the urethra. Next is cystitis. Cystitis is nothing but the infection of your bladder. Okay. Next is pyelonephritis. Pyelonephritis is nothing but the when the infection starts entering into the kidneys. When this infection starts entering the kidney, or when the kidneys get involved, then we can term it as pyelonephritis. And lastly, perinephric abscess. Perinephric abscess is the pus formation in the kidney. So these are the four types of UTI. One is urethritis. In all of these urethritis, cystitis, pyelonephritis, and perinephric abscess, the commonest symptoms will be dysuria, increased urgency, increased frequency. These are the commonest symptoms. Okay, along with that, in urethritis we see suprapubic pain and also urethral discharge. Okay, so the urethral discharge is specific for urethritis. Okay, so what type of discharge can we think in urethritis? So this urethral discharge will be mainly due to two types of bacteria. One is chlamydia and other is gonorrhea. Okay, due to these two infections, there will be urethral discharge. So first one is chlamydia. In chlamydia we see watery discharge, whereas in gonorrhea we see yellowish thick discharge. Okay, so these are the two infections, most common infection causing urethritis. Next is cystitis, that is the infection of the bladder. So it is also, the symptoms are same as urethritis, but here there will be no discharge and no fever. Okay, so there will be absence of fever. So this is the marked symptom in cystitis. And next is pyelonephritis. Along with these symptoms, in pyelonephritis we see flank pain and also high spiking fever along with the chills. Okay, so fever, flank pain, chills along, and other symptoms like dysuria, increased urgency, frequency, these are the main symptoms of pyelonephritis. And if the severity increases, there might be nausea and vomiting. Okay, so clear with this urethritis, cystitis and pyelonephritis. So coming to the last one, that is perinephric abscess. Perinephric abscess. So basically when pyelonephritis will be there, we usually treat it with antibiotics. Okay, so when this pyelonephritis is treated properly with antibiotics, if even though after treating it there will be no improvement, if we see no improvement and the fever is still persisting, then it indicates perinephric abscess. Okay, so even in pyelonephritis, when it is treated and there is no improvement, then it is indicated as perinephric abscess. So it is an indication that perinephric abscess is present. Okay, so these are the clinical symptoms of UTI. So next is, in clinical symptoms, we can divide it into asymptomatic bacteriuria and bacteriuria. So asymptomatic bacteriuria, basically the bacteriuria will be present when we do urine analysis, but there are no symptoms present in the patient. Okay, so this is asymptomatic bacteria. Usually it is not treated, but it should be taken care during pregnancy. Okay, so next is bacteriuria with clinical symptoms. And one more classification also we can do here, that is what you say, complicated and uncomplicated UTI. So first one is complicated UTI. In complicated UTI, which is present along with the risk factors. One second. Okay, where is this? Okay, so when this UTI is present with the risk factors such as pregnancy, if a patient is having a catheter, or poorly controlled diabetes, like procedures have been done, like stents or tubes have put, and other prostate problems are present. Basically these P's you can remember, like pregnancy, plastic, poorly controlled diabetes, any procedure has been done, and prostatic problems. So then we can think it as complicated UTI. And next is uncomplicated UTI, where when it is confined only to the bladder. Okay, so the UTI is not spread to the kidney, it is only confined to the bladder, then it is considered as uncomplicated UTI. Okay, so what happens if these complications are left untreated? Okay, so basically it will lead to the recurrent infections, and also it may cause permanent damage to the kidney, or it may lead to the sepsis. And next is diagnosis of urinary tract infection. So first, as we said, a basic medical history has to be taken, and also the clinical symptom has to be diagnosed, and also we have to perform some test, and also required we have to go for imaging studies. So assessing the medical history, we have to identify the risk factor and also the symptoms of UTI, that is like frequency, urgency, and dysuria is present, and the pain and the location of the pain has to be asked for the patient. And coming to the investigations, so first and best test for investigations is urine analysis. We have to do basic test, so where we have to collect the midstream sample of the urine. Okay, so this is the basic test we have to do. And in this, if a patient is a child or a bedridden patient is there, then we have to collect a urine sample through catheterization. Okay, so when patient is not able to pass the urine, at that time we can collect it from catheterization. Okay, so this is the basic test, and in this test we can see pyuria, nitrates are increased, and also there will be pH greater than 8. Okay, so first one is like pyuria. We can see when there are increased WBC more than or equal to 5 WBC per HPF. Okay, so this is the indication of pyuria. And also we can see positive leukocyte esterase. Okay, so this is the enzyme produced by WBC. Okay, if this is positive, then it is considered as UTI. And also there are some bacteria which converts nitrates into nitrites. Okay, so the presence of nitrites will indicate the infection of E. coli bacteria. Okay, so especially this E. coli bacteria will convert nitrates into nitrites. Okay, so this presence of nitrates will also indicate UTI. And nextly, if pH is greater than 8, okay, so mainly this pH greater than 8 is found when a urea producing bacteria is present. Already we have discussed, like this Proteus bacteria will produce pungent smelling ammonia urea producing bacteria. So if a patient is infected with Proteus bacteria, then we'll see pH greater than 8. Okay. And lastly, urine culture. So urine culture is basically done when the UTI is complicated. Okay, so when a complicated UTI is present, or when there is pyelonephritis, then we have to definitely go for a urine culture. And also, if a patient has any history of recurrent UTI, okay, then also we have to do culture. And also, if a patient is having any anatomical or functional abnormalities, then also urine culture is required. Okay, so lastly is imaging also be done sometimes. And if only the only patient is presenting with urethritis and cystitis, then there is no need of cultures. So depending upon the symptoms, we have to do the urine test. And okay, so these are the basic tests which are done for investigation of UTI. So first one is urine analysis. So this is the basic initial test we have to do, where we are collecting midstream sample. So pyuria, when we can say it is pyuria if a count of WBC is greater than or equal to 5 per HPF, then we can say it as pyuria. And nitrates, as I've said, so nitrites, mainly the presence of nitrites in the infection of E. coli, it is seen the presence of nitrites will be there. And pH, it is due to the Proteus organism. And urine culture is done with complicated and pyelonephritic cases, and also the anatomical and functional abnormality. Okay, so these are the investigations. And as I've said, imaging studies are not usually done for UTI. So in complex cases, imaging studies and ultrasound may be required to identify if any anatomical or structural abnormalities are present in the urinary tract. And next is treatment and prevention of urinary tract infection. So basically, in imaging studies, if usually if any obstruction is present, such as any stones are present, then we can do this imaging studies. And also, if a patient is having recurrent complicated UTI, then we can suspect a structural abnormality. So at that time also we can do imaging studies. And also, if there is early recurrence of UTI despite of appropriate treatment, we are giving an appropriate treatment, even though then patient is getting the early recurrence, that is less than 2 weeks, within these 2 weeks patient is getting the UTI, then we have to go for an imaging study. And also we can go for a blood culture. That blood culture can be done in patient in febrile patients, we have to go for a blood culture. And treatment and prevention of UTI. So first one is the lifestyle modification. So what are the preventive methods we can use is, first one is increased fluid intake. We have to increase the fluid intake, and timely bladder voiding, and importantly post coital voiding. Okay, so urinating after sexual intercourse to flush out the bacteria. Okay, and we have to maintain the genital hygiene. Okay, so practicing good genital hygiene is also important. So these are the few lifestyle modifications which we can do. Okay, so these are the preventive measures, as I've said it. So these things we can do. And also we one important is like use of probiotics. A probiotic can be used which will increase the good bacterial growth in your GI as well as urinary system. So this is also we can do. And also the cranberry products or cranberry juice can be used to avoid the UTI. And regular checkup and monitoring should be done in managing the chronic UTI. Okay, and also what is recurrent UTI is also important. So recurrent UTI is nothing but two UTIs within 6 months, or we can say three UTIs within a 1 year. Okay, so these can be considered as recurrent UTIs, and mainly the treatment will be antibiotic based treatment will be given, and also the preventive measures have to be followed. Like treatment period will be vary according to the symptoms present. It may be